Hola amigos de Un Round Más, estamos desde Big Bear y tenemos como siempre, estamos de manteles largos, tenemos un gran invitado, un invitado que es Salón de la Fama y peleó con todos los tiburones del boxeo. Estamos nada más y nada menos con Shane Mosley. Sugar,
How you doing?
muchas gracias por recibirnos.
I'm doing great, man. Feeling good.
Da mucho gusto que nos hayas recibido aquí en tu gimnasio, un gimnasio pues muy bonito que aquí estábamos entrenando hasta hace poquito.
You know, it's a very nice gym, and everybody likes to come here to Big Bear to train. So it's, one of the spots that a lot of the top fighters will come to train for their big matches.
¿Estás listo para hablar del boxeo y muchas anécdotas?
I'm ready to talk, and let's get it on.
¡Arranquemos!
Let's get ready to rumble!
Pues amigos, estamos aquí con Shane Mosley. Shane, pues muchas gracias por recibirnos. Platícanos un poquito de quién es Shane Mosley para la gente de habla hispana.
Well, I would like to say that, growing up in California, it was pretty much kind of like being a fighter from Mexico, because basically in my gym, that's all we had. And that's why I learned how to fight. That's why I was a fighter the way I was, is because I grew up around a lot of the Hispanic fighters, and learned how to throw those great body shots and get inside and mix it up, and loved to fight. So, I'm still doing good. I'm still here in Big Bear. I'm retired, and just hanging out doing my thing.
Sí, sin lugar a dudas, aquí hay muchos sparring, ¿no? Muchos sparring latinos. Pero platícame cómo empezaste el boxeo, cómo fue tu gusto por el boxeo, cómo empezaste.
The first time that I went to the ring, it was in like 1979, 1980. I put on some the Sugar Ray Leonard gloves, and I think back then that's when they started calling me Sugar Shane when I was like 10 years old, because I guess I fought a lot like Sugar Ray Leonard too as well.
Pues a los 2 años te pusiste por primera vez los guantes. ¿Y cuándo fue tu primera experiencia en el boxeo? ¿Y por quién?
I don't know exactly the first time that I spar. I know probably the same day that I came down to practice to learn boxing. I was just that kid, like very ready to get in there. And no, actually it was a month after. So in 1979, a month after that, I remember they let me spar with some of the guys that were like a year, 2 years, boxing the little kids, and and I did pretty good with that. So like I was 8 years old.
Oye, pues y ¿cómo fue tu primera experiencia? ¿Te subiste al ring? ¿Te dieron, les diste, te ganaron, te gustó, te dolió, te picó? ¿Qué hiciste?
So the first time sparring wasn't as nerve-wracking when I sparred, but I sparred with guys that were more experienced than me. I actually remember their name. I think it was Christy, Marcos, and Elias Pineda. Those are the 3 brothers that were already boxing for like a year or so, and then kind of brought me into it. And they were better than me, so they didn't try to beat me up, but they did touch me a little bit, and I did have somewhere where I had to try to catch up to them, and so I can beat them.
¿Cómo llegaste al gimnasio? ¿Tu papá te llevó? ¿Tú fuiste?
My mother, because I was so energetic in like school, and as a kid I was this guy, I was what they call now ADD. I was that kid that was like ADD. And my mother was like, take your son to the gym with you. We need to burn some energy off from him. And I just went to the gym, and it was something I liked because it was one-on-one. And I believe that anything one-on-one and you're my size, it's a no-brainer, I'm gonna win. Because back in the day, I was always the smaller guy, so playing a football game, basketball game, or whatever, soccer, it didn't matter. I was always a small kid. So boxing was like right up my alley, because everybody's my size, my age.
empezaste, pues ya empezaste a participar en boxeo amateur. La mayoría de la gente aquí en Estados Unidos tiene grandes carreras amateur. ¿Cómo fue la tuya?
My amateur career was pretty good. I was always number one in the country, in the state of California, and really in the country too. I fought Rafael Relis twice. I fought Oscar once. I fought Pepe Riley like twice. I had a lot of the world champions, Mexican world champions that you might, that's been champion, we actually grew up together fighting each other. So, in California sometimes I'll fight every week. So it'll be once a week we will fight on Saturday at somewhere different. So it'll be Bowen Park, it could be East LA, it could be Pico Rivera, it could be, Pomona. We had so many different spots, so many different places where they had amateur shows. It was pretty big, especially in California. I think that we had the best amateur program when I was coming up back in the day.
Y bueno, ¿y en qué momento dijiste, ya es hora de irme a lo profesional? Ya estoy listo para aventarme con los leones por la feria.
The transition happened when I lost in the trials of Vernon Forest, and I was like, I wanted to go in 92, but I lost to Vernon. I did go to the Nationals in 1988. I fought against Kelsey Banks and all those guys, so I was kind of primed for the amateur team. But professional actually fighting was really what I loved the most. Amateur was really good, and I traveled all over the world. I learned a lot of different things, but I think that growing up, like I said, in California, I grew up in more of a professional style type of fighting, more of a style where, you want to mix it up a little bit. You want to test the other fighter and knock them out. Just want to, win on points. And I think that growing up, that was the way we grew up. We grew up with, okay, we're going for the knockout. We're not going for, this point system thing. So it was a little different.
Claro. Tu primera pelea profesional, ¿cómo fue la experiencia pues en la transición? ¿Cómo lo sentiste? ¿Cómo después de haber peleado mucho amateur, cómo te sentías arriba del ring en profesional?
So when I turned professional, I vowed that I didn't want anybody to go the distance unless, I wasn't just letting them go the distance. They had to work to actually go the distance. And I think that sparring with Zach Padilla and Gennaro Hernandez, they were both world champions. I think Gennaro was a champion at 130. Zach Padilla was champion at 140. And I was 135, but I wasn't a champion yet. So every single day I was sparring with those guys every single day to help them. I had to help Zach. I'd do like 12 rounds with Zach. And I'd do 6 rounds with Gennaro Hernandez. And then he had other fighters he had, to come in and spar with him as well. So I think the transition of professional, when I first got hit, boom, I was like, it's a lot different from amateurs, like the no headgears and the gloves are like, you hear the sound go through the audience. It's like, tat, right when you hit them, bat. It's like, okay, it's a real hit. It's not, we're not playing around no more. And one other thing too that you learn very quickly is to keep that chin tucked. Because a lot of times when you're amateur, you're and boom, you hit the chin. And when you get on the chin as professional, it's like boom, like whoa, okay. And my chin is tucked the whole time. So yeah, it was a lot different. The mentality is different. And I think that growing up in California, my mentality was already that way, where it was like, okay, I'm coming to get that knockout in. And I sparred with pretty much all professional fighters when I was amateur in California, all the top professionals. I mean, everybody. I even sparred with Zuma Nelson when I was 15 years old. I sparred with Paul Gonzalez, the Olympic gold medalist, when I was 14. So it's like Jeremy Williams. He's heavyweight, and I sparred with him when we was young. I sparred with everybody. Chavez Sr. when he was, when he had just beat Moses Taylor, and I sparred him in Huntington Park. So I mean, we. The going to professional ranks was like more my speed. It was like what I wanted. in a fight in the way I want to fight. So it was great for me.
Fíjate que he estado aquí, aquí cerca y he hecho algunas entrevistas con mexicanos y algunos de ellos me han dicho que el boxeo no les apasionaba, no les gustaba. Por lo que alcanzo a escuchar de ti, siempre te gustó desde muy chiquito y estabas enamorado del boxeo.
Yes, yeah, I love boxing. I mean, I remember this one world champion, legendary Marlon Starr, told me that he said, you don't just love boxing, you're in love with boxing. So, yeah, from the beginning, I knew like I was that kid that needed to win, that had to win. So boxing was like, we're one-on-one, they're my size, my age, everything is matching up right. That one-on-one is like, I can choose whether I win or lose, not a team. So I loved boxing from the beginning. And I just had to make sure that when I was a kid, I made sure that I was the best. Like, I have to be the best. So I really, fought for that.
¿A qué edad empezaste a visualizar, así como con el amor que le tenías al boxeo? ¿Cuándo visualizaste así la idea de yo quiero ser campeón del mundo?
I told my mother before she passed away, I told her that I'm going to be world champion. I'm going to be one of the best. When I was 10 years old, I told them when I was 10, I'm going to be world champion and I'm going to be one of the greats. And my mother, they all believed me because they knew that I was psycho. I was crazy that I had to win. Like, I remember being in junior police and doing 100 push-ups, 100 set-ups. Like, they give you a minute to do it. So I do 100 push-ups in a minute, and I do 100 sit-ups in a minute. And I run the mile. I was 6 years old. I run the mile like in 6 minutes and something when I was 6. So it was like I was just that kid that was very determined. And they knew that if I set my mind to it, that I was going to do it. So, yeah, when I was 10 years old, I knew I was going to be world champion. I put my claim on it at 10.
Bueno, ¿quién en este deporte no está loco para subirse a tirar golpes y recibir golpes? Todos estamos locos.
I think so. I think that to be at the top, I think that all these fighters that you probably interview, and they probably had the same story. You probably had the same story. Didn't like to lose and had to win. And you find a lot of not just fighters like if you say Kobe Bryant, like a basketball player, or you have the football player over here. There's that one kid somewhere that's just like, I gotta win, and they just want to learn everything. And I was just that kid. Like, I ran into so many world champions in California till I would be at the ringside watching the world champions workout train. I remember Richard Sandoval was getting ready for his world champion fight against Jeff Chandler. And I was sitting there by the ringside watching him, watch everything. The body shots, watch the way the right way to throw the body shot, the right way to twist it in. I mean, I was just that kid that had to learn every little thing and watch every little thing, and then I could say, okay, yeah, I know it's deal. I got you. I can just watch and walk. I got you.
Pues ya me has platicado de todo, del inicio de tu carrera, el amateur, tu pasión por el boxeo, tu pasión por querer ser campeón del mundo. ¿Cuál fue de todas las peleas antes de ser campeón del mundo por primera vez una pelea complicada para ti?
Well, I did almost lose it. My last fight with Vernon Forrest, that was a complicated fight because when I look at it, I see that we did a headbutt. And then after the headbutt, he caught me with a short right hand, boom, and buckled me. And then after that, I tried to cover up and then come with uppercut, boom, and almost knocked me out. So, yeah, that was a bad feeling in there, buzzing around the ring, and the first time ever been in that situation because I was 38-0 with 35 knockouts, and yeah, first time being in that situation, and I have to say, I showed that not only could I dish out punches, but I could also take, because I went the full 12 rounds, and I was trying to knock him out all the way to the end of the 12th round. Even though he almost knocked me out 2 times, I still got up and fought, you know, with everything I got to win. So, yeah, that would be the first time.
Ok. ¿Cómo fue tu primera experiencia? ¿Cuándo pensabas tú que ya estabas listo para el título mundial?
So, before I got ready to fight for the world championship for the title, I remember talking with, I think it was Cedric Kushner. Cedric Kushner was the promoter. And I was with a local promoter and I wasn't getting to the title. They wouldn't give me the title shot at all. I think at one point I was like 19-0 with 18 knockouts, 21-0 with 20 knockouts. Like I was like something ridiculous, crazy, and I wasn't even rated. So I had to talk with Cedric Kushner, and he had the world champion Philip Holiday. So we went. So he told me, he said, "Listen, the only way you're gonna fight my champion is if you sign with me. If you don't sign with me, then you're not fighting this guy. You won't fight Philip Holiday." So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be signing with you, and yeah, HBO, whatever you guys want. I want to fight for the world title. I don't even care. So I signed with them and became world champion.
Platícame un poco de cómo fue la relación con tu papá. Cuando empezó a entrenar, porque tengo entendido que él te entrenó, y cómo era la relación con él, porque según alcanzo a entender y a leer, que era muy estricto.
Yeah, I think that my father, I wouldn't call him strict because I was already strict to myself. So I think that he was just, when we would train, it's almost like we're fighting each other because he was trying to break me with his mitts and made me tired, or with the ball or whatever, something that he had. He was trying to break me. And I'd be like, no, you can't break me. We just killed. We're like fighting, both of us going back and forth for like hours. And people are just sitting there watching like, wow, like they're training hard, you know? But it's my father, like he really wanted to, he wanted to break me. He tried to break me. I'm like, you can't break me. And that was a fight that we had. So when I go in there with the ring with any other fighter, they couldn't break my mind because, I mean, me and my father are battling every single day. Okay, oh, you finished, you did, okay, you sparred 12 rounds, all right, let's do 6 rounds of drills. Oh, okay, yeah, you did drills, okay, let's go go outside, run 3 miles. Oh, okay, you're not tired yet? Oh, okay, let's do some setups. Like we was just battling back and forth.
Oye, bueno, pues así pasa, ¿no? Así pasa. Platícame contra quién fue tu primera pelea de título mundial, cómo te sentiste, si lo ganaste, cuando lo ganaste, ¿qué sentiste? ¿Qué alucinabas?
Well, the first here that I heard that I was able to fight for the world championship for the title, I mean, I watched everybody around me, all my amateur fighters that was on the team with me. I watched everybody fight for a world title, and I didn't. And I felt a little left out. So when I got a chance to fight for that first world title, it was like, oh my God, like, I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to knock this guy out. And then I remember, like, you know, doing something kind of stupid where I'm taking too much creatine because I want to be bigger when I get into the ring. So, you know, there's this creatine thing back in the day that was like the big thing. And all of a sudden, I started losing a lot of weight. And I was like, oh, man. I weighed in at 135. I came the night of the fight, I came at 137. And Philip Holiday came at 147. So it was kind of like, wow. It was so real, and I knew like I've been waiting for this all my life. So I outboxed him for like 9 rounds and then peppered him up. You know, won a unanimous decision pretty easily. And yeah. That was my thinking was, you know, it's finally arrived, it's finally came, you know, I'm going to be the world champion. I knew it already in my mind, and it was just so real. Everybody showed up, and, you know, Megan's son, I think it was, in Connecticut, and man, it was a great night.
En el 2000 fue tu primera pelea con Oscar de la Hoya. Pero, déjame te cuento algo. Yo en el 2001 platiqué con él, o en el 2000, no me acuerdo qué año exactamente, fue a la convención de Japón. Platiqué con él y me decía que quería hacer la revancha contigo. Cuando ya le habías ganado la primera, quería la revancha contigo. Y yo no entendía cuál era el sentido. ¿Qué pasó con él que él no le gustó mucho haber perdido contigo la primera vez?
Well, you know, the first fight, it wasn't bad blood or anything. It was just that it was who was the best in California, because a lot of people in the world didn't know that we already had history already coming up in California.
Okay.
So I think that it was a battle for California, like who's the best in California. It wasn't even about the world, but the world happened to be the blanket too.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I think at that point, Oscar was the best fighter that I've ever fought at that time. Even before that, I mean, I used to spar with him all the time, or we used to spar up at the training center, and he was a great fighter, very fast, hit very hard with that left hook, and very dedicated. You know, so. And I had guys like him that I was sparring with in California, so it's kind of like we grew up with all the best fighters around us.
Peleaste con varios latinos. El primero de ellos fue Fernando Vargas. Le ganaste 2 veces, pero fueron peleas complicadas. Platícame un poquito de ellas.
With Fernando, the first fight, he was coming down from 200 pounds or something, and he weighed in, and we fought at 54. His eye got big. He couldn't fight the rest of the fight. Before the fight, he bet me $100,000 that if he knocks me out, I gotta pay him an extra 100. If I knock him out, he's gonna give me an extra 100, or I stop him. So after the fight, he gives me $100,000 because I hit him in his eyes. You know, they stop it, so I get $100,000 for that.
Wow.
So the second time we fought, he did the same thing. He came in weight like 190 or something, like really big, and then, you know, I asked for the same, you know, like bet, but they didn't do it this time. And this time I knock him out the left hook. And I think that's because he's trying to come down and weigh too much to fight me. I don't think that he was healthy when he fought. So, hey, I take both of those fights.
Y luego te enfrentaste, bueno, a Collazo, pero luego peleaste con Miguel Cotto.
So Miguel Cotto, it was a good fight. I went to New York, you know, it's pretty much Puerto Rico town, you know, and you know, Cotto, he's good, he was strong, but I thought in that fight I outpointed him. I think I hit him with more power shots, and on the fight thing, he hits me with more jabs. But I hit him with more power shots, and I throw 100 more punches than him too. So it's like I throw more punches and I land more solid punches, and he lands more jabs than me, and he beats me by unanimous decision. It's like, come on.
Fíjate que antes de seguir con el siguiente boxeador, me admiro mucho porque no eres un peleador muy grande, eres chico de estatura, y empezaste en ligero y terminaste peleando en super welter. ¿Qué pensabas de pelear con gente muy grande, mucho más grande que tú?
I hated it. I hated it because, like when I fought Winky, right, they go like this. They just, and I'm throwing with all my power. Nothing. It's like nothing. Like I do nothing too, and it pissed me off. I was like, I know I'm hitting him with the right shot. Like I can't do nothing. He's too big.
Yeah.
And for Vargas, I was surprised with Vargas because he was so big. But Winky and even who else? I fought 54. I mean, when I fought Rob Marquez, I fought who else was a 54?
Sergio Mora, Margarito,
Sergio Mora
Ricardo
was so
Mayorga.
big. Ricardo Mayorga is crazy and big, you know. So they just, I knew that I wasn't fighting my right weight, but I figure, you know, I make good money and I would give opportunity to these guys. Like Winky didn't win an opportunity and I gave it to him. Even though I never had to fight Winky ever. But I gave him opportunity, and then he fights Trinidad. I was supposed to fight Felix Trinidad next. And then Winky beat me, so Winky fought Trinidad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bueno, y luego siguió Ricardo Mayorga. Volvemos al mismo tema, un peleador más grande que tú, más fuerte que tú, difícil y muy complicado porque no tenía un estilo propio, o sea, tiraba golpes de todos lados. ¿Cómo lo veías?
Well, I thought it was very amazing the way Ricardo Mayorga fought, and he could fight that way. I remember boxing him and getting real close. I'm like, I got my hands up. If he does something crazy, I'm gonna block it. And I get close, I'm here, and all of a sudden he's like, right on top of the head, boom, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like I have my hands up and he still got me. I'm like, he got me. So I'm like, that's interesting. So I knew I had to I couldn't just, it wasn't safe just to keep your hands up. You had to move your head, move around and do all kinds of, you couldn't just do this because he'll still get you. And I think that's how he knocks a lot of people out. You know, because they think they're blocking, but they're really not.
Y bueno, pues viene una pelea muy interesante porque peleaste con Koto. Koto te ganó una pelea difícil, pero te ganó. Y tú le ganaste, y entonces había peleado Koto Margarito. Margarito había ganado, viene contigo, y entonces una pelea, hay uno de tantas, te toca el cambio de rival, ¿no? Generalmente, a veces cuando hay tríos, así, tú le ganas a él te gana a ti, y tú le ganas al otro.
This is where I truly think. I think that when Koto and Margarito fought, he probably had the plasters in his hands, but I think that Koto has a more difficult time fighting with Mexican fighters because of the style coming in close and throwing the body shots and getting the shots and throwing a lot of punches. Whereas me, I grew up around this. I seen Margarito when he was a kid coming to the gym watching me spar. So it's like it wasn't like, oh my God, big Margarito. It was kind of like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna toss him up too because I know him. He's a little boy, a little kid. But I just think that Koto is a really great fighter. He's really, has good unexpected boxing ability. Like he does things pretty good. I just think that the matchup with him fighting, even when he fought him the second time, he still got busted up a little bit. He still got hit. When I fought Margarito, I didn't really get hit. You didn't see anything on my face. Margarito, even though he took the plaster out, there was nothing, he didn't really touch me in that fight because, hell, I knew the style, I knew what he was doing, I knew he was going to come at me, I knew how to block counter, I knew how to turn him, not really even hold him, but turn him a certain way and get the body shots in. So it was, Margarito was at a disadvantage when he fought me, but he was at an advantage when he fought Koto, I think, because Koto wasn't expecting that type of fight.
¿Qué pasó cuando peleaste con Margarito? ¿Ya se escuchaba o qué fue lo que te motivó a que tu equipo fuera y reclamara sobre el tema de las vendas?
So yeah, for the wraps, brother Nazim was in the corner of Margaritos, and he was watching. He likes to go over there and watch them wrap their hands. So as they was wrapping their hands, he kind of felt around, and some dust fell off of the wraps. And he looked at it like, what's that? Like dust? What the hell is dust coming off the wraps for? And so he made them cut it off. He said, you can't use those. Cut them off. So they cut them off, and then he grabs them and takes them back to our room. And yeah, they caught it. They figured out what it was. So what happens is that when he starts boxing, the wraps will get sweaty, and then they'll turn to cast, plastopera. They get cast. So, yeah. I mean, and it was sad because I actually knew his trainer. Like I was really cool with his trainer, Capetillo. Yeah, it was cool because he was also Gennaro's trainer. Well, no, he worked with Gennaro a little bit too, Chicanito, at the Brooklyn gym. And he worked with a lot of different people. So it was kind of like, I'm cool with them. Like, oh man, like why why'd you do it with us? Like, it didn't matter anyway because I was, in my mind, I was going to knock him out. I was going to beat him, but still, it's like it kind of put a damper on the whole fight because, you know, he has Plaza Apparel and this magnificent show. Like, I put on a beautiful exhibition of fighting, and it's always over cloud of, oh yeah, he had Plaza Apparel, you know, and you know, it's like a black mark, a blemish.
Claro. ¿Tú crees que en realidad entonces, usaba, o por qué me dices que usaba algo? ¿Lo comprobaron en la corte? ¿O cómo decidieron qué era lo que usaba?
Yeah, this was proven right there actually on the spot because with the doctors. So the doctor would come, he came in and they had to check it. And when they grabbed it and make sure and they put it up in court and all that stuff, so it was actually proven that, yeah, he has a Plaza Apparel. Yes, the dust was, you know, it's going to get harder. So everything was like proven basically in court, and that's why he was suspended, and Capetillo, I think, was suspended and stuff like that.
De por vida. Sí, lamentablemente a Capetillo, su entrenador, hasta donde tengo entendido, lo corrieron del boxeo de por vida, le dieron castigo de por vida, porque en el pasado a un peleador allá en el este, algo así como Resto, algo así, Luis Resto, algo así, no me acuerdo bien el nombre, hubo un problema ahí con ellos, y a la persona que utilizó el vendaje lo metieron a la cárcel. En este caso, pues nomás castigaron a Capetillo, a Margarito lo dejaron pelear, no le dieron más que creo 6 meses, 1 año, no más de eso. Pero muy lamentable. Entonces tú sí crees que Margarito utilizó algo en el vendaje.
Oh yeah, he definitely did. Yeah, because what happened right before we actually walked to the ring or whatever, Brother Nazim took the hand wraps and brought them over to me so I could look at them, and then he squeezed them and showed the dust and in front of lawyers, in front of doctors, in front of everybody. So yeah, before we actually walked to the ring, it was like, okay, do you want to still fight it? I was like, of course I'm fighting. Like, I just cut those wraps off and usher him to the ring and let's get it on.
Sí, claro, ya estabas ahí, ya habías entrenado. No iba a haber cheque, claro que tenía que... Oye, fíjate que Margarito estuvo en Guadalajara, Margarito, lo tuve sentado y él me dijo, yo nunca usé nada, yo nunca me puse nada, no sé de qué hablan, mi entrenador no hizo nada, juró ser muy honesto, juró... y qué pena que tenga el valor de seguir mintiendo, de seguir diciendo cosas, sosteniendo una mentira, pues que desafortunadamente, como me lo explicas, pues pareciera que es culpable.
Well, I mean, you know, with Margarito, like I said, I watched them and grew up in the Olympic Auditorium where we used to box, and I used to hang out with Capetillo and all those guys all the time, but I mean, I know Capetillo probably is persuasive. I'm like, listen, you need this for your hands. All it's doing is protect your hands. Look how hard these wraps are anyway. They're going to be this hard anyway. So, you know, he probably fed him with a whole bunch of excuses. But I think that he had to have known that he was putting Plaza Apparel in there, because even in sparring, they had this little punching brace or some kind of a block that's in front of their knuckle to protect it. So he knew what he was protecting his knuckle, but maybe he didn't know this Apparel, but that has to be something wrong with that. Like, he has to have known that, you know, he's getting these knockouts like that, and people are just going to sleep. Like, nothing's happening in the first, second, third round, but like in the 8th round, he's just doing some kind of throwing bricks at people, and then all of a sudden they're falling asleep. So he has to know something.
Claro, totalmente. Bueno, y pues ya terminamos con Margarito. Le ganas por knockout en el 9º round y después viene una gran oportunidad. Bueno, en el momento, así se veía, una gran oportunidad contra Floyd Mayweather.
So facing Floyd, you know, I hate to say it, but I've always been like injured with these top guys. With Floyd, I was injured. With Pacquiao, I was injured. You know, so I have an opportunity to fight Floyd Mayweather was really big, and I thought that at that time, you know, I was getting older, and I'm like, I have to take the fight because if I don't get this fight, then it's never gonna happen. He's gonna, you know, it's gonna go off somewhere, and it's never gonna happen. So I took it. I took it with Floyd, and I was able to, you know, I think Floyd stayed in the pocket too long. He was staying in the pocket because he didn't believe that, you know, I was strong enough to hurt him or whatever. And I just slid in and caught him with a good right hand. And then the next time, you know, I noticed that when I threw the right hand, he's going to try to throw his left hook or his check hook. So he tried again. I got ready, hit him with the body shot, and came over top with the right hook. And as he was throwing his left hook, boom, and that almost finished him. I was like, man, I'm gonna knock this kid out. I didn't even, it was the second round, like, and I have 10 more rounds to go. Yeah, you should just wait, and I'll wait, and it's gonna happen. But it, you know, it never came. He did what he's supposed to do. He's a great world champion. He's fast. He's cunning. He sees different things. Come before they even come. Like, he's just, you know, he's a remarkable fighter.
Pero hubo un round donde le agarras un volado con mano derecha por arriba y se lo pegas. Floyd se hace como que se va a caer. Oscar y todo el equipo de Golden Boy todos brincan de la emoción. ¿Qué pasó?
Yeah, that was the second round that I was talking about where I think that he got a little like, yeah, I'm full of himself, like I'm strong, I'll be able to take his punch, there's no problem, boom. He's like, whoa, maybe what they say is true, you know, he got good punching power. And then hit him again, boom. And I remember somebody saying that in his camp or him saying that he seen black and he thought that he was knocked out because he thought that was it for him. But he managed to grab my gloves or grab my arms and hold me and kind of finagle me, pull my head down. Like he managed to do champion stuff and he won.
Bueno, sí, es la única oportunidad, parecía, todos brincaban. Oye, pues, y después vino Manny Pacquiao.
Well, you know, with Manny, I've been trying to fight him. I was trying to fight him for a while because it was like, all right, he's the next one, you know, in line. And I think he's really small, he's short, and I should be able to just keep him at bay with my jab. And when he runs in, maybe, you know, time with the right hand. You know, I thought that it should be, if I box him the right way, it'd be, you know, it could be a good fight, but I think that I can kind of keep my range from him and not let him get in. He's kind of short. But before the actual fight happened, I think I had signed the contract to fight him. And then on Friday, and then on Sunday, I think I was playing basketball on the Celebrity. It's a celebrity basketball thing. And I run down court, boom, I fall to the ground. Lo and behold, boom, I pop my Achilles. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, oh my God. So I had to do surgery 2 days later and then fight Pacquiao 4 months later.
Wow.
I fought him 4 months later. So when he drops me with the straight left hand, I'm like, oh my God! It was the second, third round. Like, I got like 9. You start counting your fingers. Like, okay, we got we got about 9, 2 more rounds to go. I'm like, oh man, this is not good. And I have this, and I had blood blisters. But you know, the check was pretty good. I think it was $7 million. So couldn't complain. Mayweather $5 million, 7. So I was like, I have to do what I gotta do, and maybe I can catch him. And that's why he caught me with the left hand because I was sitting back. I was like, okay, I'm going to catch him with the right hand. Boom. What just happened? Yeah, so that's it.
Pero luego ya hemos recreado muchos peleadores. Ya hemos recreado muchos peleadores, unos muy grandes, otros pequeños pero muy rápidos, muy fuertes como Manny. ¿Qué sientes? Eres de los pocos peleadores que ha peleado con todos los leones.
Well, I mean, that was the way that I grew up. I grew up making sure that I gave everybody an opportunity because when I was coming up, I didn't necessarily get that opportunity that quickly. And I know that it's hard because some people they just won't get opportunities. And I believe that, okay, you think you're better than me? You think you can beat me? Let's do it. And I think that in our era, growing up that way, we grew up like wanting to challenge and be the best and fight everybody. Everybody, it doesn't matter, everybody around. They could be a little bit bigger, a little smaller. That's why I commend Canelo for fighting the light heavyweight. I mean, he didn't fight the way he's supposed to, but I commend him for fighting, going up and challenging himself. I think that's what it's about, challenging yourself.
Oye, bueno, no te quedaba de otra, tenías que enfrentarlos. Date la vuelta. Y piensa en el joven aquel que intentaba ser campeón del mundo, que tenía un sueño, que desde chiquito le había prometido a su mamá ser campeón del mundo. ¿En qué momento te volteas y le dirías a ese joven, hey, toma tu tiempo, las peleas están bien duras allá arriba, están bien fuertes?
So, what I would tell my younger self, I don't know, it'd be hard to tell anything to my younger self because I was that kid. I was a stubborn kid that I literally had to win. Like if my sister beat me in chess or checkers or cards, or it's a kid down the street, I would keep coming back, until I win. I have to win, and when I win, then it's all right. If I didn't win, I'll be crying. I just didn't like to. I didn't like to lose at all. At all. I was like. I was more crazy or want to win as a kid at 6 to let's say to 14. I had to win everything. If I didn't, then I would cry. And I would just go somewhere and try to find it out. So telling myself, yeah, be patient. I think that it's gonna happen, it's gonna come. I think that my mother, my father, my sisters, everybody, my friends, everybody around me knew I was that kid, I had to win. So I don't know what I can tell myself, but I was definitely a winner.
Claro. Y eres hambre del triunfo, conquistaste títulos en diferentes divisiones. Has logrado triunfos sobre Oscar de la Hoya 2 veces, Fernando Vargas 2 veces y un sinnúmero de peleadores de alto potencial y alto nivel. Cuando volteas y ves tu carrera, todo lo que hiciste, ¿qué piensas?
It's weird because it feels like I'm not that person. I feel different, like I'm not the fighter. I still can do it, but I'm not. It seems like it's a different person. Like I'm looking at somebody different, like it's not me, but it's me. So it's a great feeling to know that I've accomplished all these different things. But my mentality, even now, is just different. So I don't know. I feel great. I feel happy that I was able to provide for my family, for my sisters, for my kids. I'm able to get all these different things, and for me working so hard all my life, and I can finally just kick back and retire. If I want to, which I love, maybe train some kids here and there, but I can just sit back and just enjoy life. And that's what makes me feel proud and happy.
2022 va a ser un año importante para ti, porque... 2022 2022 va a ser un año importante para él. Porque en el 2020 entró al Salón de la Fama. Pero este año van a juntar las varias clases, 20, 21 y 22, para hacerles una gran fiesta. Así que habrá un mundo de campeones y será de los festejados.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be crazy out there. It's gonna be a lot of people, and I'm usually when I go to the Hall of Fame, when I would go to Console, I would see a lot of the older fighters, you know, back in the day, like 1950 or something, you know, and some of them have died off, and now we're becoming the older, you know. But it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great class reunion to see all the top fighters all over the world showing up there, and just, you know, I'm just gonna take it all in, you know, and see everybody. And I'm just happy that, you know, I set out what my dream was to be a Hall of Fame fighter, to be up there at the top when I was a kid, and it happened and it came true. I mean, what more can you want for life? You know, that's what any kid would want in life, is to be, you know, one of the greats and the champion, and to call it when you're 10, you call it like, this is me. I'm one-on-one. I'm doing this.
Yeah,
you know, from way back then. You know, so yeah. I mean, it's great. Yeah.
Oye, todos los boxeadores mexicanos hablamos de este tema y dicen, no, yo no quiero que mi hijo sea boxeador.
Okay, so
Tú tienes uno y ya está peleando. ¿Qué sientes? ¿Lo entrenas? ¿Cómo lo ves?
yeah, I think that my son is getting better now from the last fight. I think his mentality is changing, being that he has kids. He has a family to take care of. He got to work, you know. So and he got to go to a job to work, you know, training people to fight. So I think it's clicking mentally, being a man, being his own man, and now it's showing in his fight. So I'm happy with that. In the beginning, you know, I was the one that I started like when he was 8 years old, like me when I was 8. Because I know that if they start when they're that young, then pretty soon they'll probably pretty much be a champion, you know, when they get a little older. But people will say, no, you don't want to be like your father. You don't need to go box. You go to school or do this or do that, you know, whatever, do other things. You don't need to be a boxer. So he waited until he was 16. And then he went to box. I'm like, all right, well, if you want to know anything, then I'm going to show you how to, you know, with the right jabs, with the right hands, whatever. And then he came at 16, so he started a little bit later. And that's why, you know, he's been later on the ladder, because he started late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tú lo ves y te reflejas en él. Lo ves y crees que tiene la misma hambre que tú. Lo ves, o qué vas a hacer para ayudarle, o le vas a ayudar, no le vas a ayudar. ¿Qué vas a hacer?
Yeah, I think that the way we have our thing where I'll tell him some things. For him, like I trained him, I trained him from, you know, day one when he was younger, and even when he was 8 and all the way up. I think that me just talking to him and telling him different things and not really being there like, do your jab, throw your right hand, come on. I noticed that he gets a little agitated if too many people are like screaming at him. Me, I didn't care. Me and my father going back and forth. It was different. So I had to like, okay, because I'm very passionate. And I can, you know, no, you're gonna do that. No, you're not. You're gonna twist that foot. You're gonna, you know, like I'm very particular, and maybe I'm too much. So I back away a little bit. I back away and let somebody else tell him things that he already knows. He already knows all that stuff. Like he's been in the ring with everybody. He's been in the ring with Canelo here. He's been in the ring with Canelo here. He's been in the ring with Charlo here. like me. He's been in the ring with, I think he was in the ring with Gabe Rosado before they fought here. When I fought Margarito, Gabe Rosado was my sparring partner, 2009. He was the smallest, but he's my sparring partner. So Shane's been in the ring with Lujas, the Argentinian kid, Lujan. Lucas Batistas. He's been in the ring with him because he was with me. Sergio Mora. I mean, everybody. Like, he's been in the ring with everybody. Mm-hmm. So he knows already what to do. It was more a mental thing, and his mental thing is changed. Okay. And now he's, as a fighter, I did from that one fight, even watch him spar with Badu Jack. Okay. He sparred with Badu Jack, and he's doing really good. Badu Jack asked for another day. This is what he's giving for Gabe. He asked for another day, like, I need another day to spar with Junior. That means that Junior did pretty good sparring with Badu Jack. He wanted another day. He wanted another time to get back. You know what I'm saying? So Shane is changing. He's changed mentally, and I think that he's gonna show that he's a different fighter when you see him fight again. He's a different fighter that you guys haven't seen, but I've seen it already in the ring with all the other fighters, but he wasn't showing it in his fights. But now he's gonna start showing them in his fights. I think it's gonna be a different fighter.
Sí, fíjate que te voy a contar un mal chiste, un chiste. A lo mejor no te gusta, pero te voy a contar un chiste. Yo tengo un hijo, el Terrilito, y mis otros hijos son iguales, tan altos. Entonces cuando me preguntan, pues los veo, la gente los ve grandote y les digo, ¿a poco no se parece a su papá? Y me ven.
Me
sí,
too.
I know. It's the same. It's like you. Your son is like you.
They're eating hormones, right?
Yeah. No, ellos sí comieron, güey. Dile, ellos sí comieron, tomaron lechita y carnita, güey. Bueno, pues te deseamos mucha suerte, mucho éxito con tu hijo. La verdad que es que yo te entiendo. Para cada padre es muy importante que sus hijos den lo mejor arriba del ring. Te agradecemos mucho el espacio y el tiempo que nos has permitido estar aquí en tu gimnasio. Muchas gracias por permitirnos esta oportunidad. Yo sé que eres un gran conocido en México, la gente te conoce, pero muchas veces hay que recordarles muchas cosas, quién eres, qué haces, qué todo. La verdad, un placer haber saludado. Gracias.
Well, I'd like to tell all the Mexican fans out there, I'm still here working out, training, doing my thing, and I don't think that I've ever really said it a lot, but I think that everybody already knows, all the Mexican fans, that I really resonate more with the boxing of the Mexican fighter than any other fighter. And maybe because I grew up that way, but it's more fun. It's more fun. You go in there and mix it up, and not that you're gonna get hit, and you're supposed to get hit because you're not, but make the fight happen, like fight. And this is the style that I like. So I just want to say hi to all Mexican fans. Thank you for following me and for being great fans. Thank you.
Gracias.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Shane.
Oh,
Thanks.
Thank you, man.
Y gracias por la paciencia.